My portfolio has been looking a little bit off. Whenever I'm online and I see these amazing art and design portfolios, I get really inspired to go out and make something beautiful too. The main thing with portfolios is that they have to tell a story. It has to let every person who visits your website know exactly who you are as an artist and what it is that you do. And the thing is, I'm not really sure what the answer to those questions are. See, I started in film and photography, which I still absolutely love. But then I found painting and design, and now I'm realizing it's really hard to encapsulate all that I want to do in one web page. And that still doesn't answer the question of what exactly it is that I want to do. When it comes to art or design, there's a lot of different titles you can use to brand yourself. And all I know is that I like to make art, and I like to make art that transcends mediums, but I don't know what exactly my title would be. I do feel like I have a style to my work and themes that emerge in everything that I do. It's just hard to put it all together because ultimately I'm not sure what I'd label this work as. I don't know exactly what I want my job to be. I don't want to have a photography portfolio and a design branding one and an art one. I want to bring everything together into one cohesive identity. So that got me thinking, how can I do that with the work I have right now? Okay, so I think I'm finally happy with my portfolio. I'm just gonna test it on my phone. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this. So now I just have to not get insecure about it and delete it in a week or want to redo it then. But I like how simple it is. I think this looks pretty good so far. I don't know. I'm happy with it for right now. So this is my final portfolio that I have up here on my iPad. I kept it very simple. I only have a few pages, one page with all of my art, and then a couple of pages with like information about me and how to contact me, which was the same as it was on my last one, so no changes there. But the main change I made was instead of having a page for photography and then a page for illustration, I have everything on one page here. I really liked a few of the portfolios I saw where people didn't really divide up their skill sets, and instead they just put everything on one page. I like that because to me, when I would look at that work, even if I didn't see exactly, the kind of project I might hire someone for there, I could tell what it would look like if I was to hire them to do it. So even if they didn't label themselves as a graphic designer, I could see if I hired this person to design a poster, what might it look like? Or if I wanted this person to do motion design, like what is it going to look like? And I could tell just from seeing their main page of work. And that's what I wanted to do with mine, because ultimately I decided that I didn't want to brand myself with any specific label. I ended up just putting artist and designer on my About Me page, but I really just wanted to have the work be there and then let people decide for themselves what kind of work they might want me to do. And they can use this to envision what it could end up looking like. I will say one thing with this portfolio that it does not have yet. It doesn't have a lot of the products I've designed, so I've made a couple of t-shirts and sticker sheets that I really love, but I don't have them with me here in France, and I didn't photograph them very well before I left home, so those will get added in the summer when I go back home. I also don't have a lot of motion design in here. I did include this one old project. I am debating taking this one out because, I don't know about this one, but I really love motion design and I want to get more into it. I want to take stuff like my illustrations and see if I can recreate those digitally to add movement to them. I just think that's really fun and interesting. But I kept this in here so I had at least some motion design, and then as I make better, newer stuff, that is gonna go. So the first piece I have in here is an original painting I did. I actually have sold this painting, so I don't have it anymore. It's about twice the size of this iPad. I don't know, I have the exact measurements written down somewhere, not on here, but it was just a ink painting that I did, and I love this one. I think it looks so cool. I love these kind of patterns that I do on a lot of my work, where you look at it and it just all blends together and it feels like there's movement even though it's still. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, I'd love to figure out how to make these things digitally as well so that I can add movement to them there. And that way I can show like, oh, I'm a fine artist, but I also do like digital work, and here's how it all comes together. Okay, the next thing is a photo series that's black and white film photography that I did this summer. I am probably going to add a couple more pieces to this once I develop the final roll of film. But for right now, it's this set of about 6 photos in here. And I put this in here because I wanted some more recent photography work. My old portfolio had a lot of stuff I did in high school, and I still love those photos. I think they're really good, but I wanted stuff that's like a little more recent for me. To me, this is a little more the style of what I want to do now, where it's very dreamlike, it's very nostalgic. And to me, when I look at this kind of stuff, even though it's photography, I could look at this and see how this person, myself, might direct a film, or how they might, do other design or art elements that are in a different medium. And that's why I wanted to put this in here. For all of the works, really, the feeling that it evoked was more important to me than what it actually was, because I want all of the work to look like it belongs together. And to me, when I look at this, all of the pieces do have similar looks to them, and they have similar feelings to them. So there is some work I really like that I didn't end up putting in here because it didn't fit that requirement. Like, it didn't look like it matched the rest of the portfolio work. So even though I have pieces I absolutely love, they're not in here because they don't evoke similar feelings to this one. Or, like these have my pattern style, so I wanted that in there. And that was kind of the criteria I used when I was building this. The next one, this is like a sister piece to the first one because I made them around the same time. But I really love it for the exact same reasons I loved that first one. I really like the patches of like no drawing where the color gets to come through, and I just really like this piece. It's another ink painting with ink drawing on top. The next thing I have is a 3-video series project that I got hired to do for my friend's opera company. When they were doing their company launch a year ago. Oh wow, yeah, a year ago. They wanted to tell the story that it had some extra stuff that was shot for it and a scene like that tied the 3 songs together. I didn't include that here, I just put the 3 songs because I really liked how those turned out. This first one in particular is my favorite. We ended up shooting it on a projector using an iPhone. This is shot on a front-facing camera phone, which was very impromptu. We didn't really plan to do that. We'd never seen the projector before we got there. We made all the little assets for it like that night. It was kind of crazy, but I really like how this one ended up turning out. But I think if I see this, I can understand how this person might do motion design, right? Because you could see this and see how you might make this digitally. So that's why this piece was really important to me. These are the remaining paintings from the same time I made those other 2. These ones have a little more of a galaxy look to them, and they don't have as much of a pattern drawn on them. So I have them included as a series of 3 because they kind of go together. So this is one of my older pieces on my portfolio. I made this my first year of school, and I ended up showing it in an art show pretty much right after I finished making it. And it's just a series of collages. So I took all the photos for it, printed them out, and then I used vellum and ink on top of them to create these really interesting looks and effects. I am super happy with this series. Similar to the film series, it's very nostalgic feeling, very kind of surrealist and dreamlike, which is something I really like in a lot of my work. This is a motion design piece I made for school. It's a kinetic text assignment. I'll play it on mute. The song has a lot of layering to the vocals where there's like 3 or 4 people singing at once, and I wanted to really bring that feeling through in this piece. I like this, like, kind of. I don't know. I know that you're not supposed to include work that you're not like super confident of in your portfolio, but without this, I don't really have a strong motion graphics piece. So for right now, it is in there, but I do feel like this is something that once I have stronger motion graphics work, I'll probably end up cutting this one and just leaving it to live on YouTube. Okay, and finally I have a film and photo series that I shot way back in like 2017. So I first shot this short film, which I will, oh my gosh, no. Okay, there, I muted it. I shot this short film. It's an abstract, experimental kind of short film. And normally when I do film, I do not do anything experimental. I am not usually a fan of experimental film because it's like too weird for me. But I really like getting to try this out because it was just experimental enough that I got to try something new, but it was still had enough of a narrative to it that it still fell within the realm of things I like to do. And then the photo series that accompanies it was one that I shot with my friend around the same time. And these are kind of photo collages I made in Photoshop, so it might be a little hard to tell because they're pretty dark, but they have several photos in there that have been like blended together and layered on top of each other to create a very, once again, dreamlike feeling. I think this one is probably a pretty good example where you can't really see your face, everything's sort of blurry, there's a lot of movement, you don't really know what's going on, but the photos do tell the same story as the film, which is just examining how somebody changes in a key moment of their life. This is usually the one I use as the representative image for this series. I really like this one quite a bit. And yeah, I think this is 4 or 5 photos stitched together. This was probably the clearest example of this one was I think also 4 or 5, but you can see a little clearer here where some of those might have come from. So that's my whole portfolio as of right now, and I'm pretty happy with this. I like how simple the layout is. I like the themes that I think are repeating throughout it, and I just like how it looks. Who knows if that's going to be the case in 6 or 8 months. I like to redo my portfolio quite a bit, but I'm hoping at this point I will be pretty solidly happy with it for a while. And I'm happy that I finally have found a title that works for me. I like that I kept it simple, and here's hoping that I still like it in the future.